Hello and welcome to Launch 2026. My name is Ben Rogers, and I'm excited to lead this portion on building and sorting your database. I think before we get started with what building and sorting your database means, I think we should really answer this question. Why work by referral? Why is it more important to prioritize relationships over transactions? And I really break it down to three main reasons. Number one, more quality leads. Number two, more impact. You can make much more of an impact with folks you have a relationship with rather than just closing the deal. And number three, it's more fun. It's more fun working by referral. And not to mention, guys, when you work relationally instead of transactionally, you can actually build a predictable business. So here's how. Let's assume that you're starting from scratch and you've your first week on the job. I think one of the best things you can do is get a handy dandy pen, get you a notebook, and you start going pen and paper on a list of relationships. This is a really important distinction. It's not just contacts. This is not just a list of contact information. This is a list of relationships, people that you know. Look, you've all heard the phrase that it's not what you know, it's who you know. Let's take that one step further. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's what you know about who you know. So we're going to get out a piece of pen or a piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to start making a list of relationships. Think about the different groups you're a part of. Think about the different teams that you played on. You know, when I was in college, I played football. And so what I did my first 30 days in the job when I was 22 years old is I actually went through my old football rosters. And I called all of my teammates that I played with, and I asked for their parents' contact information. When I called and introduced myself to the parents, I let them know who I was, and many times I had already met them, which was a great starting point. I let them know who I was, what business I had gotten into, and I'd really appreciate if they'd keep me in mind for anybody they knew that was buying and selling real estate, and that's ultimately how I got my first deal later on in that first year. If you are, let's say this is your second career or third career, or let's say that you're not right out of college, you're not fresh, okay? Well, maybe you're still fresh if you're not right out of college. I didn't mean that in a derogatory way. I apologize. If you are, let's say it's you're in your 30s or your 40s, and this is a new career for you. Something that I want you to do is I want you to look at what associations your kids are a part of. Look at the parents you've met, the other parents you've met of your kids' friends. Look at maybe your church group. Look at the different charitable organizations you're a part of and see what types of relationships you have in those groups. Now, as we start to organize all of our relationships, we want to get them in some sort of CRM. CRM stands for Client Relationship Manager. Okay? A Microsoft Excel document is a form of a CRM. There's rows and columns. You can sort, you can organize it, all those types of things. As a matter of fact, your contact list in your phone also can be used as a CRM. Now, if you want to step it up and use one that's more geared towards real estate, I'd suggest two of them. One is Brian Buffini's Referral Maker CRM. This is a tried and true CRM that I've used for years and still use today. And then another one that's become really popular is Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss, like the Referral Maker CRM, allows you to get all of not just the contact information, but the relational information in your database. And then it'll allow you to sort it based on how often that you want to contact people. Now, in order for people to enter into your database, okay, into your list of relationships that you're going to market your real estate services to, there's one question that they need to answer yes to. This is called qualifying the relationship. Qualifying the relationship. This is Brian Buffini's Mayor campaign. He says, if you or someone you knew were buying or selling real estate, would I be the realtor that you refer them to? If the answer to that question is yes, they go in your database. It's really quite that simple. If the answer to that is no, actually, my mom's a real estate agent, that's great, good for you. They're not going to be someone that you're going to waste your time marketing your services to. So we need to make sure we qualify all of our relationships. Little quick pro tip on this. If someone is in a relationship, if you have a husband and a wife, don't just qualify the husband. Don't just qualify the wife. Qualify both of them. When you make a call or place a call to people, also consider their spouse, because 2 is greater than 1, and you're more likely to earn more referrals. All right. Once we have our database, which, by the way, is ever growing, it's ever growing, okay? We're going to make sure that we are sorting it. So to explain sorting to you, it's a ranking system. I'm going to give you two different systems that you can use directly, or you can take what you like from each. Okay. So let me share my little screen here. This is Brian Buffini 101 on how he sorts his relationships. And another word for sort is to rank. So he goes A plus through D, and there's an O built in there, which we'll get to in a second. A plus, these are your best repeat customers, someone who has sent you multiple referrals. If you're going to use this system, I want to be very literal about this. So if you're brand new to the business, you actually would have no A pluses, right? No A pluses. The idea is that if you've been in the business for a little bit and you have people who have been repeat customers or sent you multiple referrals, they would then move to an A plus. Look, your job as a real estate agent running your own business is to move someone up the ladder. We want to move them up the ladder. A's are just simply past clients or people who send you referrals just occasionally. These are people who would refer you if you did the work to ask them and show them how, right? Anytime someone enters into your database, we like to enter them in as a C. All right, let's skip over O for a second and go down to D. D simply stands for delete. These are going to be people that are unqualified. These are going to be maybe just a list of contact information that you want to keep track of, but you're not actually going to market your services to them. O or online contacts, I would argue that that could also stand for open house contact until you move that just transaction, that name, that contact information into more of a relationship. This is Brian Buffini's way of doing it. I guarantee you could just put this in Google and you could get this printed out for yourself. This is the ranking system that I like to use. I developed this years ago, and a lot of this came straight from Buffini, but this to me makes a little bit more sense for me and my business where I am. I've been in it now for 13 years. So like Buffini, I go A plus through D. A plus I like to call the proactive advocates. Our goal as realtors running our own business is to have an unpaid sales force of folks who are advocating on our behalf. All right. A pluses are the top dogs. They do fight to refer me, but most importantly, they seek out opportunities to help me in and or out of the business. All right. These are the types of folks, you don't have a lot of these people. These are the types of folks who you rarely have to remind that you're open for business. A's are the reactive advocates. Okay. These folks refer me if the opportunity presents itself. Like I can think of plenty of people in my COI who will always refer me to their siblings or their parents, or maybe if like they have a really close relationship with a coworker. But very rarely are they just finding random people to refer to me. These are people that I call reactive advocates, all right? These are the supporters. These are the business card passers. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I do enjoy talking to these people. I would say that these are the folks who, they're the types of people who say, yeah, man, I gave your information out to so-and-so. And usually nothing comes of it. You as the realtor have to be really good at educating these referral sources on how to actually refer you and making sure you get connected. C is none of the above, very similar to the Buffini's. Past clients, potential clients don't fit any of the above. They may have referred in the past, usually longer than 2 years ago. I'm not as motivated to talk to these people as frequently. D, again, delete. No chance they're going to refer me, therefore not worth marketing my services. Now, here's the key point, okay? Quality and quantity of time spent with A pluses should be greater than time spent with A's, etc. If you have a third-party coach or a sales manager or a team leader, work with them to establish a game plan for frequency and types of contact with relationships. All right. So in short, A pluses, more contact, C's, less contact, right? Depending on the depth of your relationship with each person and how much they may or may not have referred you, determine how high they are in your ranking system. All right. I do want to give I know we talked about building and we talked about sorting. I want to give a quick overview of what you're actually going to do in regards to working your database. You're going to get plenty more of this later on in the launch program, but I want to at least give a quick overview. I want to do this in terms of what I call staples, things that you do on a daily, a weekly, and a monthly basis, all right? All of these ideas sound good, but until they're in our calendar and we're actually taking action on them, they don't matter. So one phrase that I really like, and I actually got this from Tom and Mike Ferry, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. So I would strongly suggest putting these things in your calendar. On a daily basis, as a business owner, we need to be making proactive phone calls. We need to be writing follow-up notes. These are easy, simple, very inexpensive lead generation tactics. Weekly, at a minimum, I'm talking about once minimum, we're getting face-to-face with customers. And for a lot of folks, this is daily, okay? When I say face-to-face, I mean breaking bread, whether we're having a cup of coffee, having lunch, or simply going to do a pop by. But minimum, that has to be weekly. And then monthly, okay, we need to be reviewing our database. We need to go back and make sure that our relationships in there are, in fact, qualified. They are people who will refer us. And then as we go, we need to make sure we're resorting. If you enter someone in as a C, because it's a new relationship that you've started to form, but then you've coached them up on how to refer you, and now they're referring you often, we need to make sure that they climb up the list so that when you get your database all out in front of you and you're deciding who you're going to spend most of your time with, they've now moved to the top of the list. Okay? And then finally, I was asked to share a bonus tip with you guys. So here's my bonus tip for today. I think a lot of folks find the mayor campaign quite daunting. There's a lot of words built in there. If you, a friend, family member, or coworker were buying or selling a house, would I be the realtor that you refer them to? It feels kind of like a cheesy question to ask. It does work. I promise you, if you actually follow the game plan, it does work. But I'm going to give you another way to do the mayor campaign. One of my favorite questions to ask when talking to new relationships is simply this: who's your realtor? Many times, they're not going to have an answer to that question, either because they haven't bought or sold before, or because the number one complaint amongst realtors is they're bad communicators, and these people probably forgot who their realtor was. When you see the hesitation that they don't know who their realtor is, that's a great opportunity to say, well, listen, I love to become the realtor of choice that you refer if you knew anybody buying and selling a house. There's your bonus tip for today. Thank you guys for watching, building and sorting your database. Get a pen, get a piece of paper. Let's rock and roll with this thing. Hope you guys go sell a bunch of houses, make a bunch of money. See you.